Kelly, right?
Callie.
Callie and Terry, yeah.
Kelly. Hey, Kelly, you're a nice lady. You know that?
Well, thank you.
And you're beautiful, too.
Thank you, Ray. We look forward to you calling every week.
Yeah, good night.
Good night.
Night, Ray. Thank you. Ray is a sweetheart. Ray calls us every week.
Well, God bless him.
And,
When he gets back from...
and if he doesn't call, we worry about him. So. But,
Well, so
anyway.
I just, to talk about more recent work,
you want to get into your new book?
Yeah, which is called was also published as a double issue of the Journal of Bisexuality, and is coming out in a trade version this year, and it's titled "Bisexual Perspectives on the Life and Work of Alfred C. Kinsey," and it is a collection of essays on Alfred Kinsey, who was the person who invented, the Kinsey scale and came up with really the first sort of quantifiable data about bisexuality, and the first, really sort of rational look at bisexuality in his book, the Kinsey Report. So this book was also named as a finalist for the Lambda Literary Awards this year, and we're going to the award ceremony next week.
Oh, cool.
So wish us luck.
Good luck.
Thanks. The competition is stiff, but we'll see. We'll see.
Right.
In any case, again, it's a great honor to be named that, even if we don't win the award. But Kinsey's work was really very important to bisexuality. One of the aspects that we kind of ignore in looking at the Kinsey scale is that it actually puts bisexuality in the center.
Right.
It centers it and normalizes it in that way. So and aside from the fact that Kinsey himself was bisexual. And as he said, he thought the ideal sex researcher would be a 3, because they could relate. And his researchers used to joke with him, and this is an anecdote that's included in one of the essays, in the lead essay, from researchers at the Kinsey Institute. They said that they would respond, that an ideal sex researcher, should not only be a 3, but they should be a hermaphrodite, which was, of course, the old term. Yes.
Yes.
But that's sex.
A little bit of experience.
Sex researcher humor,
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but it's a really nice collection. It will come out in a trade version from Routledge sometime later this year. I also have a collection of hot drink recipes. That's called Mugs of Joy.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, this. I don't only write about queer stuff. You can find copies of Mugs of Joy at the Co-op, Bean and Leaf, the Thames River Greenery, and other fabulous retailers around New London and in Mystic too.
Yeah. I will have to get a copy of that. I'm into cookbooks and stuff. I love to cook and hot drinks. It's kind of an interesting one that you don't see much of. So.
Yeah, well, I had this notion, like 10 years ago.
Outside of coffee and tea.
Well, and hot buttered rum. I make hot buttered rum.
Right. Well, so what I did was put together a collection of all of the best, hot drink recipes that I knew, and then so that's what Mugs of Joy is.
Right up my alley.
Yeah. So I have other projects other than just strictly queer ones.
Absolutely. And at some point, we kind of need to have a couple shows on things like that.
Yeah.
We've had a few people come through that sort of, one of the other things they do is make incredible food. Or they have incredible recipes. And we were talking last season that we really need to do like a food show, like a pre-recorded cooking show sometime.
We're going to do that.
Have everyone over, show us one of your recipes, and
yeah. We can be silly. That kind of stuff
there's
is
nothing
fun.
silly about
Are you
good
sure?
food,
You know, and
good drink.
yeah, that's right. You can come on and do your drinks.
Certainly. I'd be happy to.
Cool. Yeah, it's interesting. You know, talking about bisexual men. You know, obviously, from our perspective, we've you know, changed genders, and so we get to see sort of both sides of things. As a bisexual, I mean, I was a bisexual man at one point, and now I'm a bisexual woman. So, which is my sexual persuasion didn't change, even though everything else did. Although, I mean, I think I shifted on the scale, though. But
well, the object of your desire has stayed constant, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
pretty much. Which is everybody.
It's a difficult thing when prior to transition, when you're repressing and struggling with lots of emotions, to actually be able to, you know, turn around and sort of deal with what your sexuality is. I mean, you know, there's a question of who you are and how you fit gender-wise, how people see you and interact with you. And then there's this whole question of sexuality and how do I relate to other people sexually. Yeah. And I found it very difficult to even attempt to deal with my sexuality until I had dealt with my identity. My body. Transition. Yes. Yeah. Feeling much more comfortable in my skin now than I did a year ago. It's becoming a much bigger issue.
Yeah. Sure. In the interview that I did with the trans bears, that was one thing that they sort of stated, that for a lot of trans guys that, and I suppose too for a certain segment of trans women, that their lives were essentially asexual. I mean, even though they might have been politically active, that, I mean, there was a part of their own erotic desire that was really cut off. And, you know, now as, you know, as trans folk, you know, from across the spectrum are, you know, starting to come into their own and you know, and accept their bodies in a much less invasive way. It seems to be bearing, you know, really lovely fruit in terms of their having real relationships and real sexual lives again.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not talked about in I don't know how to say it well, but polite society, but human sexuality, you know, this goes back to the Kinsey stuff.
I thought we were being very polite here.
Okay, I'm sorry, you're right, but you know, it's not common lunch conversation at work. Wow. But you know, the Kinsey report did a great job on bringing it into the light too, that human beings are sexual. We are sexual creatures. Our sexuality is a huge part of who we are.
Amen.
And you do have to deal with that.
Right.
You do have to come to terms with that.
Right. And anything that is suppressed, that is stuck underground, anything that you hide from yourself or you hide from other people is only going to come out the other end somehow, you know, so to speak. You know, you can't repress these things.
They